Hello, Matt's here for Sonicstate, and today we are looking at Bonkers by Raw Analog Sound. Bonkers is the first module by RAS and provides overdrive, distortion, sidechain, envelope-follower, a 3-band equalizer, feedback system, inbuilt VCA, a mixer with a crossfader and LED metering. At 22 HP, it features 2 channels, each with 2 drive stages with 6 different clipping modes, delivering a wide range of distortion flavors, going from subtle saturation to extreme fuzz. Designed for live performances or used in the studio, this can be used as dual mono or in stereo applications. Let's take a deep dive into this monster of a module and just find out how bonkers this really is. Okay, so here is Bonkers, and this can be used as a stereo module or dual mono. It's got 2 sides therefore. Each side is identical, so I'll just go through one side and have a look at what we've got to play with here. Starting at the top, we've got a gain input, which is called gain 1, and that can be boosted with this little switch here up to 35 times. Yes, that's right, 35 times gain destruction there for you, and that's connected to these 6 choosable clipping modes, which will give you different types of clipping, distortion, and that's followed by a 3-band EQ, low, high and mid, which you can boost or reduce. Now these are fixed frequencies, but for each one of these you've got a little toggle switch which will move the kind of fundamental or the fixed frequency that it's at and move it about. We also then have a blend mode, so dry to wet. We've got feedback, which has got its own CV input there, so we can turn that up and down. We've also got this gain 2 here. So not only have we got gain 1, we've got gain 2. And this can actually be switched in pre or post EQ. So what that means is that you can have the first gain which goes into the EQ, but then you can also add this second gain to work with that, or you can switch it to be post, which then means it'll come afterwards essentially. So there's lots you can play around with, and there's a little switch there which allows you to select 2 different kinds of gain for that one as well. One of them's just a bit more harsher than the other one. Down here we've got an envelope output, so anything that goes into this you can then get that envelope out, so you could use that for side chaining the second side. If you had a kick drum going in here, bass line going in here, you could use that for some automatic ducking. Input, it's also got a built-in VCA, which is really cool. So essentially you can send an envelope or some modulation into that and turn up and down the sound, and we've got the sidechain input. Now in the middle here we've got this nice little, what looks like a DJ controller crossfader kind of thing going on, and that's kind of is that. So basically if you've got 2 inputs going in here and use this mix output, you can then basically crossfade between the 2, which is really cool. You do have 2 separate outputs anyway for each side, which doesn't use that, but you can use all 3 outputs at the same time. And then we've got this here, which is called volume, but it's not actually the volume output, but what it is, it actually helps drive the signal in to the EQ. So it allows you, that's really, and I think that's really cool, and I'll show you this because it makes a big difference about the sound going in to the module as it does to what you do to it when it's in there. So that's a really nice feature. I like that. You can get a massive range of tones out of it by playing around with the volume, the 2 gain, the EQ section and the feedback basically. So let's plug some stuff in. We'll do some drums, we'll do some bass lines, and have a listen to what this does. So I thought we'll start with a kick drum, why not, and see what it does to a kick drum. Let's just take a kick drum out of my quad drum voice and send that into the left channel of Bonkers. Let's go out of that left channel into my speakers, and then just need to trigger my kick drum, which I'll do from Steppy. We can see here as well, we've got visual indication of the sound. So that's it completely dry. Got the wet over there to the left hand side. So I'll make that 100% wet. Hasn't really made difference until we start turning up the gain. EQ's flat at the minute. I've got it on clipping mode 1. Let's just boost that to 35 times. 35. And let's also bring in a bit of gain 2. So there's a lot of dynamic range here, you'll hear that. There's quite a big volume change. Again, this volume here, that's not the output, remember, so that's kind of sending it back in. I've got the EQ flat, so I'll leave that about there. And let's just try some different clipping modes. Now it sounds to me, these clipping modes just get more extreme. The more you go through them. I quite like this sixth one actually. I don't know, it's got a kind of really nice front end transient to it. Let's have a play with the EQ. So let's boost some of that low end. Whoa. Take it away. Mid-range, high frequency. So if I back this off, remember that's not just turning the volume down, that's turning down the input going in. So you get these extra flavors of distortion derived from that. That's really nice. At the minute, gain 2 is on pre, so it's actually happening before the EQ. We put that after, sorry, it's on post, so it's happening after the EQ. Let's put that on pre. So that's happening before the EQ now. So we can drive that into the EQ and get even more flavors. Let's put it post again. Back off gain 1. Let's go dry. So that's what we started with. So I'm just adding a little bit there. Nice. If we want somewhere in the middle, we could do that with the blend knob. Now we have feedback to play with, and this is where it gets really bonkers. And you can kind of tune that feedback by the amount of feedback that you have and the EQ. So that combination of playing around with this, the gain, the EQ, and that feedback is going to give you all these different kind of, well, distortions really. So it's not, I mean, you can just go crazy and just crank everything. We can go there if we want. Yeah. Or we can just back it off and find a bit of subtlety and go there. And again, this, because it's driving it in, will affect the feedback. So these fixed frequency modes that we have, it's really clipping that. So you can kind of use those as a way to kind of just make things pop in and out of places. It is bonkers. Okay, great. Okay, let's bring in some hi-hats. I've got hi-hats coming out of here as well, I think. So let's take this output, and I'll go into input 2 here. Input, and let's trigger these hi-hats. And I just now need to take the output of that module, just need a cable. Let's take that right hand output and I'll send that into my speakers over here. So I'll turn down the kick for now. Here's the hi-hats. So we're completely dry on the blend. So I'll bring that up, increase the gain. Again, we can play with that EQ, the different clipping. Yeah, it sounds a little brighter to me as well, the more we go around those clipping modes. Really quite harsh and aggressive hi-hats now, compared to that, to 100% wet. We can bring in the feedback, same kind of thing. Let's bring in the kick drum again. Now what we can do here, just to move those hi-hats out the way a little bit, is if we take the envelope out of our kick drum and go into the sidechain input, this channel of the hi-hats, it's now moving them up and down. We've got an attenuator for that, so we can make it really extreme or not at all. So that's really nice. Obviously how long your kick drum is going to determine that, because it's an envelope follower that it's using. We've got a short kick drum there. So I've got this gain actually on pre-EQ. Put it on post. Let's have a play with some of, oh my word. That's the feedback there on the hi-hat channel. You will have to watch your speakers on this one. Okay, instead of those hi-hats, let's use something maybe more like a conga, which is kind of almost like a driving bass line in a way. So that's what's going in. It's quite nice. So you can kind of use these, you know, to push and pull those things in and out of the mix and really shape them. Just get that on the verge of feeding back there and you get this like really low rumble, unless you take that out. Okay, kick drums. Let's try out a few different types of kick drums, and let's also try out the different clipping modes, along with playing with the gain 1 and gain 2, just to show you the kind of differences in those modes and the diverse range of kind of distortion you can get out of this. We'll also play with the EQ as well and push and pull that. But I really do think kick drums are a good place to kind of demonstrate what this can do in terms of, you know, the transient, and in terms of what happens to the decay and the tail and all that kind of thing. Here is the clean kick drum. So that's going into channel 2 here. And I've got it multed going into channel 1, which will be the distorted version. And yeah, I'm using the mix output here, of course, which allows us to use that crossfading between channel 1 and channel 2. So it'll allow us just kind of make a comparison as we go along. So that's the dry one. Let's go over then to here. And I'm going to leave it in clipping mode 1. I'm going to leave the EQ flat. Let's just bring up that gain 1 a little bit. And that's kind of quite a polite kind of kick, distortion rather. We can put it on times 35. And we've still got that front end. You know, we've still got that attack of the transient. Let's just try that in some different clipping modes. If I leave the gain there. There's quite a difference there between 2 and 3. Let me go back to 2. Now we're hearing it really kind of break up. Nice. That 6-1 to me is, you know, to my mind, it goes from kind of nice distortion through to just tearing your head off. And let's hear that on times 35. Sorry, let's go back to just the default. So there's a nice jump there. So let's go back to its original sound. Yes. Nice. And we're not using any gain 2 here at the moment. Let's just also, yeah, let's listen to some more of these clipping modes and just play around with that gain a little bit. So even there we've added some more kind of texture to it compared to the dry version. And we're only at 12 o'clock, still not using gain 2. We are on times 35. Let's try a different clipping mode. I really like this clipping mode 6. For me, it's got more of the attack. It's definitely more angry. Still only at 12 o'clock there. Now we've just gone past 12 o'clock there. Let's go back to times the original, times 10. Clean. So it's really starts breaking up there about 3 o'clock. Let's try that on some different clipping modes. This one's also quite nice. What's that, number 4? Let's go to the original. Really nice. Now if I take away the decay of my kick drum just here for a second. So we've got this. Very short decay. And then let's increase that decay. Let me go back to dry sound. So now we've got a massive tail. Let's try some different clipping modes. Let's just bring that decay back. Nice. So we still haven't played with gain 2, and we haven't played with any of the EQ here. But let's just do that, and I'll try another couple of different kick drum voices as well. So let's go to 12 o'clock. Let's go to clipping mode 1. 12 o'clock there, clipping mode 1. We'll leave that on times 35. And now we'll bring in some gain 2. Go through the clipping modes. This one here is becoming a favourite, number 4. Nice. So with that gain 2 maxed out, if we roll back gain 1, we get a different flavour than if we had it the other way around. So that one there. You see? So let me invert that. So less gain 1, more gain 2, we get a different flavour as well. That's what's going in. And as we increase gain 1 now, we're on max on gain 2. And we can get there. And of course, we can blend between the clean and the distorted one as well using this. But I think this does a really good job of keeping that character of the front end, even when we're totally cranking it. So we'll leave those maxed out just for a second, and I'll play around with a little bit of the EQ here because this is important. And I've got gain 2 pre-EQ, so this is pushing into the EQ. Let's scoop the mid, boost the low end. Change that low frequency. Let's make the decay shorter. Because we're using a lot of gain there, I think it's in between the kick drums, it's picking up a little bit of the noise coming out of the kick drum module there. Well, noise as in what it's emphasizing. This isn't a particularly noisy module to my mind. Okay, let's try another kick drum sample. Okay, a bit more of a softer kick drum one here with more of a kind of noticeable pitch decay on it. That's the clean version. Now we're going over the first channel here, and let's introduce clipping mode 1 times 10. And let's just go through those clipping modes. Definitely some different coloration. Nice. Now that one's really peaking on the transient, as you can see there. So we back that off from gain 1. We could go extreme with that. And let's go through those clipping modes. Nice. So a ton of range we can get out of this. That's just lovely. Still not using any EQ. Let's introduce some. We're not using gain 2. Really pushing that mid frequency. Let's change the fundamental of that. Nice. Let's just leave it on that one then. So we've got a bit of EQ going on here. Let's bring in gain 2. Again, we'll go pre-EQ, so the gain is driving into that. So remember, this is clean. Go times 35 on gain 1. Back off gain 1. No gain 2 now. Wow. That's what's going in. Wow. If you listen to this on headphones, fantastic. Loads of power. And again, if you sit this somewhere over here, you can blend in the dry. Just if you want that. But there's still a lot of front end there still, even though it's really, really, really caning this. Nice. Okay, let's try another kick drum. Okay, now this might be interesting. I'll use a kick drum sample here that's already kind of broken up and already a bit kind of distorted, and see what we can do, because it already sounds pretty wild. So that's it clean. And let's just bring in gain, let's leave gain 1 there, bring gain 2. And let's try those different clipping modes. Bit more gain. You really notice this on headphones, with gain 1 being down, gain 2 all the way up. But if we go to the clean, it's definitely doing something. leave it about 12 o'clock and maybe bring in gain 1. Both there at 12. Let's try the other clipping modes. Bit of EQ. Increase that top end. Ooh, yeah. If you've got this on speakers or headphones, you'll hear that. There's some really nice low end. Whoa. Let's go to the dry signal. And I thought that was already quite an extreme sound. And we're only on times 10 here for distortion. Let's back off gain 2. Notice how it's got a little bit duller there. And it's got just much more top end and aggressiveness there. And I think that's probably to do with the fact that it's driving into the EQ. If we back off 1 instead, similar kind of thing. Gets a little bit softer, but then we could do times 32. Let's try different clipping modes. Quite subtle in the way that I've got it set up here. Again, we can merge the two. Okay, let's do another kick drum. Okay, let's try this one. This is quite a kind of hollow kick drum, a bit of white noise on that kind of click. So that's it dry. And yeah, let's I mean, right away there, that's working with that. Because there's a lot of low end in this. It seems to latch onto that. We are in times 35. It's quite a nice blend there. Let's leave it on that blend as we turn this up. Nice. Again, it's still retained that transient. Now, I was wondering if this was going to do this, because there is a kind of airiness and a bit of white noise at the start of this kick drum transient. By increasing that high end, we've got this fizzly top. That's what's going in. Let's just change the decay on that. Again, it's emphasizing that noise that's just a current, because we've maxed it out. And you might want that. Clipping aggressively, particularly boosting that high end there. That's what's going in. Let's just roll that back a bit. Let's try those different clipping modes. That's what's going in. Flat EQ times 35. Really, there is something interesting going on with number 6 in terms of that clipping mode. It really adds that maybe wanted, maybe unwanted. It just makes it go bonkers. Okay, one more kick drum. Okay, let's try this kick drum. This has got, again, another kind of very defined pitch envelope on it. Throughout the whole of it, it starts very high and comes down, so this would be an interesting one to try out. This is it dry, and then we go to this side, and already we're hearing a little bit of distortion there. Times 10. So that's where times 35 was when it was there, more or less. So that times 35 is almost like someone's turned that dial, you know, a good kind of nearly a quarter of the dial, a little bit less. Okay, let's try those different clipping modes. That's nice. That's really nice. It's just starting to kind of break up at 6 there with the gain there. Got a feeling if we engage that, yeah, really getting that transient sort of breaking up now. And that's the thing, you know, you can play around with all the gain and the EQ and stuff, but just finding the right clipping mode that kind of works for the kick drum that you've got in terms of its transient, the low end. I should say, actually, I've been doing this demo with disengaged, which actually cuts any frequency below 34 Hertz. And I've just been doing that because it just tightens up that bottom end a little bit. I'll leave it off for this one. That's it with and without. Just tightens it up a little bit. It's amazing what that does. You get that nice break up at the top end. Ooh, there's a lot of power there. Just trying the high pass filter there. Times 35. Whoa. That's what's going in. This thing is bonkers. Oh. Just got balance of the two there. 6 has definitely got sort of something going on at the top end. Makes it really aggressive compared to 1. I'm breaking it up there. I've just moved that low fundamental frequency there up. More mid-range. And then let's back off gain 1. Nice. Okay, so let's put this to the kind of techno distortion world test, which is where I think this sits really nicely. I've got the 4MS ensemble going into the left hand side of Bonkers. That's it dry. That's it 100% wet there. I've got a VCA I've got an envelope which I'll plug into the VCA, and let's bring that in nice. Is it dry? Listen to what it does to that low end. I appreciate there's a volume jump. It's quite hard for me to demonstrate this without matching that. This wave shaping works nicely. And then on the second side, I've just got a simple, another oscillator here. And I'll take off the effects. It's just that going in. And I want to show you what it's like if we combine those. I will add the effects onto that second voice again. So I can really use this EQ to kind of take out the mid-range on, say, this oscillator, leaving a bit more room for this one. Which I can push and pull. Try different clipping modes. Again, that makes it brighter, I think. So I can kind of push and pull those things there. Obviously I could also use the balance if I was using that mix output here. So if I demonstrate that. And I can merge between the two. But I quite like the fact that we've got our independent controls. There's some crackles here. It's my cable, so it's not the unit. And I think all we need now is really a kick drum, isn't it? So let's bring that in. And we're away. Bring some hi-hats. So just the voices are going through this, not the kick drum, and not the hi-hats. Depending on how I want each side to sound, I can make it more aggressive by pushing that mid-range or backing it off. Bring out the top on this one. Really nice kind of techno machine. Take that low end out. I could see this being quite an important centerpiece, particularly in the music that I'm making, which is along this style. So I'm a bit scared to bring in the feedback, but I'm going to do it. Nice. It's created that kind of longer sound there. That's quite cool. And I guess with that feedback, I can play with that, kind of tune it using the EQ. And we are off to the moon. Take that feedback out. Nice. Let's try the feedback on this side. And feedback's going to kind of jump out in between where the envelope kind of closes the VCA, I think. Because I've got this low end boosted, we're getting this. Let's apply some control voltage to the feedback in this patch, because I think that might be quite good fun. So I'm going to take the output of this variegate here and plug it in to the CV input of the feedback. Now it's controlling that just from this sequence here. And again, the EQ is going to interfere with that feedback sound, so depending on what I do here, cool. I could just play with this all day now. Just do a set like this, why not? Okay, so an example of running some samples into this. I've got like this ARP loop running into this. Open up the VCA there. No, it's just being played from the bitbox here as a sample. Just looping round. Of course, you can take full advantage of all the EQ. And the gain, etc. Let's use that VCA here, which is just being played by an envelope from Quadra, being triggered by Steppy. So let's close that VCA up a bit. And let's make that run at a different length. So again, using it kind of in a DJ style, boosting and cutting things. Got the VCA being triggered at a different loop length to the sample, bringing some hats. And a kick drum. So we're pushing it there, we are giving it some extra texture. That's it completely dry. Depending on where you want it to sit in the mix. And it might even be fun on top of that, oops, throwing things about, if we was to sequence this feedback on top of the loop. Add some effects. And you've kind of got the original sample being played there with the feedback. And I guess you can kind of mix between the two. Okay, so here's an example of running a drum loop through Bonkers. I've got my drum loop coming from Bitbop Micro into left and right and out left and right into the speakers. So this is it fully 100% wet. EQ is all at 12 o'clock. And we're already getting some lovely kind of, whoa. There's a bit of room on this recording of the drums as well, which is adding to that. Not even touching the EQ yet. But we can drive it more into that EQ with these. Or back it off. And if we have a quieter signal going into the EQ, I guess kind of got a bit more headroom, maybe a bit more noise to play with. If we back it right off, it's going to sound maybe different to when if we was around here. Because it's hitting that EQ differently. Nice. Very nice. Let's go extreme. Now I'm being very careful not to clip anything as I'm recording in, so everything you're hearing is happening in here. Let's just back off a little bit. I'm going to pitch this down, something I'd like to do quite a lot. So now we've got a bit more space between the hits of this drum loop. That snare is lovely. Definitely could make some really cool samples from this. Okay, so I've just synchronized that to my main clock, so the sample's playing back in time with everything. And I'm gonna use my step sequencer here just to open and close, or to trigger an envelope on every other note. And if I plug this into the VCA input from the envelope, turn that down, we'll got that now. So the VCA is just basically turning up and down rhythmically in time with the beat, which is all very nice. So now we can really, you know, take advantage of the fact that we haven't got any kind of elongated frequencies going on. Let's put the filter back to 0. But it's a great way of chopping up your samples now. You know, just having one of those sound design sessions, recording stuff in, chopping it up and kicking it out as one shots. Nice. All right, here's another sample. This time it's this kind of bass sound. Just take the kick drum out. It's just one note. So that's it just going in. Let me take this VCA out. So that's it dry. Wow. Really crank that low end. Let's bring that kick back in for just a bit of reference. Just lovely. And yeah, we could bring that VCA back in and create a kind of rhythmical pattern. Something like that. That's what we had. Cool. Let's maybe try some other sounds. That's without it. With it. Drum out a second. Some really odd sound there. Like drums falling from the sky or something. Wow. Wow. Instant techno machine. Shorten that envelope. Wicked. What else have we got? Some crazy arpeggiation, something. Same pattern, same envelope. What else we got? Groove. back in the 90s. Oops, hit the cameras again. Scoop the mids out. It's like some weird tom fill. It's nice, whatever it is. You know what's coming, don't you? Kick drum and this. An envelope, sequencer, sequence that VCA open and closing. Instant. Some hi-hats. Adding so much to it. If we go to dry, can't actually hear it in the mix. Cool. So there we go, a really interesting module and one that can be used in so many different ways. I really love the EQ on it. I love the fact that you've got this raucous ability to add all this extra feedback if that's what you want. I think it works really well on both samples and also for synthesizers. It's a great sound design tool as well. And I think that the way that the whole kind of circuitry works within itself, so as you push and pull the mids, the highs, you know, the EQ, where you put the gain 2, pre or post the EQ, you know, all of that will interact with the overall sound. The fact that you can drive the sound into the module as well is really interesting, and it kind of provides so many different opportunities to get different sounds out of this. This isn't just a crazy distortion unit, although it does do that. It's much more of that. There's more nuance in this, and there's a lot more thought that's gone into, you know, just how this has been designed and the different applications that it can work for. I mean, I love it. This is going to become definitely a centerpiece for both in the studio and when I'm playing out live. For the music that I'm making, which is, you know, very visceral, hard techno, this just works absolutely perfect. You know, it almost, you know, it's a combined kind of DJ performance tool as well as kind of a distortion unit. It's going to sit there easily within my live case and allow me to kind of go out, perform and have a lot of fun out there on the stage. As of filming this video, it is now available for pre-order at around 380 euros, excluding VAT. And I believe they're going to be shipping towards the end of January 2025. And for a limited time, you will get this with the module as well. Completely free. This is a little powered, really cute little wooden case, Bonkers written on the side. It's powered. It's actually got a power supply inside there, and it houses the module just like that, if that's the way that you want to go. So if you just want to kind of use it in this kind of cute little case, then so be it. If not, take it out, put it in your rack system. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this demo of the module, and if you've got any comments, do leave them below. We are also doing a video which is going to be a patch from scratch, whereby I'm going to be using this with my modular setup, and I'm just going to create some music on the fly, on the go, unrehearsed. And so watch out for that on the channel. You'll see that come up soon. Thanks. Bye for now.